Hey, can I ask you something?
If you've gotta.
Are Gulf and the other beasts native to this island?
No, they're not. Carmina brought them when she fled here from somewhere else.
Adolfo, Galf, it's okay.
The woman's voice was clear and light. The two beasts, seeming to take comfort in her presence, slowly backed away. Behind her was a third beast, watching Tan intently. The woman seemed to be around the same age as Tan. She smiled brightly at him.
What a scary face you've got.
The woman's smile met Tan's cautious gaze. Her expression radiated innocence and purity. Not expecting a sudden joke from a total stranger, Tan stayed silent and waited for her next words.
My name is Carmina,
she said. Tan was a spy who worked for the Fantasian Empire. On the way to a mission to infiltrate the Queendom of Vibra, his small boat was destroyed by an overwhelming storm. That storm had carried him to this nameless island. Neither Vibra nor Fantasian knew of the island, but Tan would forever remember it as the place where he met Carmina. Tan and Carmina, Episode 1. Carmina's shack was on a quiet corner of the island. The shack's walls were made of logs, clumsily stacked together, clearly not the work of a professional. However, the room was filled with quality furnishings. Whoever Carmina was, she'd once enjoyed some degree of luxury. Carefully observing Carmina and her movements, Tan gathered that she relied on the beasts for her survival. Carmina's lustrous, wolf-like companions were expert hunters, and they brought food back to her on a daily basis.
I have something to ask you. Just out of curiosity.
By now, Tan's wounds from the storm had completely healed. Still, Carmina never told him to leave her shack.
Of course it's out of curiosity.
Carmina chuckled.
Why else would you ask?
She glanced up from the tree nuts she was sorting.
I mean, I'm really curious about you and this place. I'm nothing but curiosity.
Tan's sudden burst of candor surprised even himself. Flustered, he continued shelling the nuts as if he'd said nothing.
Well, go on, ask away.
Adolfo and the others, they're not from this island, are they?
Is that the only question you have?
Sure.
You're a bad liar. I know there's more that you want to ask.
There is, but for now, you saved me. That's enough for me.
Carmina chuckled once again.
You're a kind person, Tan. I can tell.
Said Carmina, gazing into Tan's eyes.
I'm kind?
And here I'd always thought the people of Fantasian were all cold-blooded.
Tan was speechless. How had she known where he was from?
Your gear gave it away.
And you're from Dora, right?
Dora was one of many small nations that Fantasian had invaded, destroyed, and taken over. Dora no longer appeared on any map. Its culture and language had been wholly consumed by the Fantasian Empire. Dora was small, but it had been rich in underground natural resources which were loaded with magical power. Its neighbors fought over its resources, finally reaching a truce, until the Fantasian Empire broke that truce and advanced on the humble nation. The Fantasian Empire seized control of Dora in a flash. It became little more than a military outpost from which Fantasian attacked other neighboring nations. Dora's capital, once brimming with magical golden ore, was now little more than a ruin under the Fantasian Empire's thumb.
And that's not all. You were close to Doran nobility.
What makes you think that?
Carmina asked quietly.
I'm familiar enough with Doran craftsmanship. One look around this room and I knew.
You're not wrong, but you're not entirely right either.
Carmina murmured as she looked into the distance. Tan asked another question he thought might have been better kept to himself.
You're the chief's daughter, aren't you?
Carmina nodded. Tan felt a strange sensation, like blood draining from his fingertips. He saw again what he had witnessed that day, the day Dora fell, hanging in the air behind Carmina like a backdrop.
I'm sorry.
What are you apologizing for? It's not like you had any hate for Dora, did you?
Carmina stood up and opened the window of the shack. The subtle scent of the sea and the whispers of the forest surrounded the two of them in an instant. The three beasts gathered around Carmina's feet, a low rumbling in their throats.
We're the only ones who escaped here, to this island.
Said Carmina, stroking the beasts tenderly.
Adolfo gave his life to shield me from an incoming arrow. But my father, our chief, revived him. In his final moments, he used Doran magic to turn Adolfo into a spirit beast. But I'll never know whether that's a choice Adolfo would have made for himself.
Carmina looked up from the beasts to face Tan. She had a perplexingly peaceful expression. Her kind eyes didn't betray the slightest shred of resentment.
You're the kind one here, not me.
Tan said.
Am I really? I abandoned my own people. Instead of fighting for my country, I chose to survive. How there could be any kindness in that, I don't know.
I ran away too,
said Tan.
But that's different.
Is it? Look, from one runner to another, I get it.
Tan stared straight back into Carmina's eyes.
I get that there's excruciating guilt in your heart. And I get that you pushed through the pain and chose to survive. Isn't that right?
Carmina nodded sheepishly.
Yes, you may be right. I'd like to think I'm kind too. But maybe that's just my way of hiding the pain in my heart.
Whatever the reason, your kindness saved my life. So as far as I'm concerned, it's real.
Sincerity shone from Tan's eyes as he looked at her. She smiled back at him again.
Thank you. Tan, I knew you were kind too.
They all ended up here?
Yeah, and they lived here in peace. Until I came along. Time to move. Watch your step, Leo.
Jeez, what happened here?
Nothing natural. Kind of a long story.
Wait, you did this?
Tan and Carmina, Episode 2. That night, Tan rose quietly from bed and quickly dressed to go. He decided to leave his sharp short sword and other weapons behind. Maybe Carmina could use them to protect herself, or at least for cooking, he thought. A few coins jingled softly in his inner pockets, but they were of no use to anyone on the island. Tan pushed open the door of the shack as silently as he could. Suddenly, a shadow brushed against him, and he felt a gentle nibble on his leg.
Adolfo?
Adolfo, the spirit beast wrapped in mysterious light, was desperately clinging to Tan's right leg. The beast's fangs did not hurt him. There was something comforting in the bite, like a cat's as it carries a kitten off to bed. Tan pulled Adolfo off of his leg and hurried out the door, but the beast persisted. Adolfo followed him into the night without raising a cry.
Adolfo, go back home.
Tan told the spirit beast, but Adolfo kept following him, as if pretending not to understand.
I don't belong on your island. I destroyed Carmina's home.
Tan continued muttering to himself, knowing the spirit beast couldn't try to offer him false comfort with words. Tan and Adolfo eventually reached the center of the island. By night, the ocean was calm and peaceful, as if the storm that brought him there had never happened. Then Tan heard voices break the stillness and hid himself in the shadows.
This island is right between Fantasian and Vibra. It would make a fine outpost for our invasion.
And it looks like the Vanguard unit's boat ran aground near here.
Tan saw a familiar face nodding in the moonlight.
Yes, this will be the perfect headquarters for the Empire. I mean, for the Crimson Bandits. Now, I don't expect you'll find anyone living here, but if you do, take care of them.
Hearing Blue's command, the Fantasian spies readied their weapons. Murderous intent hung thick in the air around them. Just then, Tan heard a lone howl. Adolfo sprung out from behind Tan to attack. His claws flashed as he gave a fearsome roar to intimidate the infiltrators. The spies were shocked by the sudden assault. Adolfo swiftly extinguished their torches. Despite all their rigorous training, the invaders' eyes were no match for the spirit beasts in the darkness. Adolfo knocked out one of the spies, allowing Tan to step in and scoop up his weapon. Blue immediately caught sight of him and called out.
There's someone here! Take him down!
Adolfo growled fiercely. Tan steeled his resolve.
Blue!
Tan cried out as he launched himself off the ground, swords point first, towards his former leader. Blue sensed Tan's murderous energy behind him and dodged. Tan's blade missed him by a hair.
Ha! So you're alive!
Blue laughed loudly, mockingly. Tan hopped back, putting some distance between himself and Blue.
Good to see you're still kicking, Tan. This island would make a perfect base. Don't you agree?
Ignoring Blue's taunts, Tan lunged once again.
Get off of this island, Blue!
Tan felt Blue's knife pressing towards him hard as they clashed. Just as they were close enough to graze each other with their blades, Blue shoved him away with ease. Then he raised a fist and struck Tan on the temple. As Tan staggered back from the blow, Adolfo leapt at Blue.
I see you've made some new friends.
Blue grabbed Adolfo by the head as the beast's fangs sank into him. He yanked Adolfo away, completely unfazed by the bite.
I knew it. You've gone traitor. And now you've gone soft. I mean, babysitting puppies, Tan?
As Tan fell to his knees, he felt a strange current of magical energy surround him.
What's with this mist?
Blue murmured with uncertainty. A cold fog wrapped around Tan as if it had purpose. Small particles of water soaked into his skin. Blue struggled to slash away at the mist around Tan, but it showed no signs of dissipating. Before long, everything around them was shrouded in thick, white fog. Blue fired spell after spell through the fog. However, unable to see clearly, he struck his own comrades. Human screams echoed through the fog, along with Adolfo's barking cries. The noise grew dim in Tan's ears.
Tan!
Suddenly, Carmina's voice rang out to him. The magical mist had come from Carmina. The nameless island was dotted with large metallic orbs created by Doran magic. It had been a long time since Carmina had used her powers, but now she wielded them to put an end to the fight.
Blue!
Tan called out again to the man he meant to slay. His answer came in the form of a sharp wave of magic that slashed across Tan's cheek. Around this fresh wound, Tan felt a shift in the movement of the air. He could sense that Blue was preparing a particularly fearsome spell. Blue bent down, pressing his palm against the soil below him. He channeled all of his power into the land itself. Tan felt the particles of mist jump from his skin. A moment later, the earth shook violently as a great rift opened in the ground. The fissure grew, destroying everything in its path. The ground under Tan's feet collapsed.
Hey, Leo.
Something wrong?
No, just thanks for coming along.
Don't sweat it. You said there's somewhere here you have to go, right?
I gotta visit Carmina. Her grave's right up ahead. Listen, not to talk your ear off, but...
Tan and Carmina, Episode 3.
Tan!
When Tan came to, somebody was holding him tight. He felt them touch the wound on his cheek and check for his pulse. It was Carmina. Tan was too exhausted to even open his eyes, but he had no doubt that it was her.
Golf,
She said,
we have to carry him back. It'll take more than I can do on my own to save him.
Though Carmina was right by his side, her voice sounded like a distant echo. He felt as though he was being dragged into darkness. Carmina was desperately calling out to beckon him back.
Rudy, please find Adolfo. It should take more than that to harm a spirit beast. I hope.
Rudy ran off in search of Adolfo before Carmina could finish. But not long after Rudy left, they heard a short, subservient whimper coming from her direction.
Aha! So the Stone of Control works on spirit beasts.
The triumphant voice belonged to Blue. He still stood, framed by the rising sun. Adolfo cowered behind him. Tan struggled to stand and face him, but he could only tremble as if his hands and feet were bound.
Rudy!
Carmina cried out, reaching for the mother spirit beast. But it was too late. Blue grabbed Rudy by the neck and tossed her away. The injured beast tumbled down into the rift formed by Blue's magic. Golf snapped at Blue, desperate to protect Tan and Carmina. But Adolfo mercilessly drove Golf away from his new master.
This Stone of Control is something else.
Blue laughed as he approached Carmina.
Now I see why we crushed Dora to get it.
Carmina tightened her grip on Tan, trying to keep him from recklessly charging at Blue.
Carmina, run!
Tan rasped, but instead she stood to shield him from Blue.
I will not run. I refuse to lose anyone else. I won't live on if it means to bear even one more loss.
Carmina's entire body began to glow with blue light. Mist gathered around her, soon spreading out to engulf Adolfo and Blue.
Adolfo, I'm sorry. But now it's my turn to protect someone. Let me do one thing, one act of kindness that I can be proud of.
Carmina converted all of her life force into light. With one final burst of Doran magic, she drove out the invaders. Then the mist faded into thin air. Wrapped in sunset, the island felt truly deserted. Tan woke sluggishly and took Carmina's body in his arms. He called her name again and again, but it was to no avail. Carmina would never smile for him again. Tan got unsteadily to his feet, still racked with pain. At the very least, he wanted to give Carmina a proper burial. Then he saw something slip past his leg. This something glowed with a blue light and moved like a prowling wolf. It circled its way around him again, then let out a mournful howl.
Golf? Golf, is that you?
As Tan reached towards the blue light, it grew eyes, then ears, then tails. He gently rubbed Golf's head. The warmth that he had once felt under Golf's fur was now gone. But Golf, now transformed into a spirit beast, gave a short growl at Tan's touch.
Did Carmina do this?
Before she died, Carmina had entrusted Golf with her remaining life force. She had done so in the form of a lantern, which revived Golf as a spirit beast. Tan gently lifted Carmina's body and stood. Tan caught himself repeating Carmina's words in his mind.
I'd like to think I'm kind too. But maybe that's just my way of hiding the pain in my heart.
That's not all it was, Carmina. You were really, really kind. It's your kindness that saved me. And I couldn't do anything in return.
Tan gazed out at the world illuminated by the sinking sun. A faint beam of light stretched across the horizon. Golf howled sorrowfully at the darkening sky. In his cry, Tan felt as if he heard Carmina's final wishes.
Yeah, you're right, Golf. Let's find Adolfo.
In response, Golf howled, high and with determination.
I couldn't have saved Adolfo if it wasn't for you. I can't imagine how I'll ever repay you for that.
Then don't. Like I said, don't sweat it. Now, let's go show Carmina that Adolfo is safe and sound.